Now yesterday, you may remember I was kind of complaining a little bit about the fact that the brass tube seemed to be just a little bit too snug, or in other words, it wasn't loose. I like it to have just a little, to be just a little bit loose, so that, you know, it falls out all by itself. And that way I know that there's a little bit of clearance in there, and when I put the CA glue on it, and when I stop turning it, it won't all of a sudden seize up in the wrong place, like, say, like that. And I've had that happen, actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ream it out a little bit here, and just see if I can't just enlarge that hole. Well, you can see there's a little bit of shavings came out there. That's better. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Now I was just thinking here, sanding these brass tubes should, in theory, make them a little bit smaller. Now, not a whole lot smaller, maybe only 1/1000th of an inch. Now I can measure up to 1/1000th of an inch. Problem is, the brass tube might be slightly out of round, and unless I measured in exactly the same place each time, I wouldn't really be measuring accurately. But it's a thought. Ah, a little place here I missed. Now, I bought this stuff here in Canada from an outfit called William Woodwright, and he calls it base plate wax. I always called it beeswax, but anyway, I guess I was wrong. And it's not expensive, and it sure beats fooling around with carrots like I used to do. Not only that, but the moisture in the carrot will cause the CA glue to set up on you before you're ready. And this stuff is dirt cheap. I knew about it. Don't know why I didn't buy it before. Anyway, here we go. Now you're going to notice on the brass tubes where I stuck it into that base plate wax, well, there's a little bit of residue there. Now that is going to cause the CA glue not to stick to the brass tube, so that has to be removed. Now I think that probably solvent would dissolve this base plate wax a lot better than isopropyl does. However, every time I open the container of solvent, the house smells like a garage. Now what I want to remember is I want to be removing this. I don't want to be smearing it around just to another place on the tube. So I'm doing my best here to get it off of the tube, not smear it back onto the rest of it. And the last one. Now I think there might be a little bit still left on there, but I got rid of most of it. Well, once again I'm using my 2-camera system. So if it screws up here, you get to see it doubly good. And remember, it might seize up just a little bit faster. So I don't want to be forgetting the time here. Okay. Now I can feel it thickening up there. Okay, let's leave well enough alone. Now a little bit of the curing agent on this end here. And just give that a minute. Now let's see if I can pull this out and the brass tube's going to stay in there. You notice how the rubber band helps to clear out the CA glue? And this end here is hard. Now when I'm using this, I have to be very careful that I don't accidentally remount the inside of the brass tube. This is like razor sharp. The diameter of these two is exactly the same. This is the one with the sharp cutter, and this one of course is just round. I prefer to use this one for what I'm going to do next. Now, just in case there's somebody watching that's never seen this done before, the idea is that I'm going to shorten this blank here so that it's the same length as the brass tube. And this barrel trimmer is just great for that. Now the idea is that I trim the blank down until the cutter here just touches the brass tube and then stop. Don't want to go any more because then you're going to shorten the brass tube and then your pen parts aren't going to work. Now the reason I have a vacuum cleaner going there is because I want to be able to see the brass tube as soon as the cutter touches it, and the vacuum cleaner will remove the shavings so fast you can't even see them go. Well, tomorrow we turn.